Welcome back, beautiful people. My name is Amit, and I'm from Feesclub Academy. And in this particular video, we will go to see how the form elements, how to design form in the HTML. As you might have seen before as well, that in most of the websites there are beautiful forms you found where you know some like registration forms or login forms where you put the username and the password, and just there are buttons to register and sign up or log in. So we will see how to create that type of form in simple HTML. So this was something we have worked in the last video. Let me just delete it. And to use the form, to create the form, we have a tag named form. Okay, so you need to simply type form, and in this particular tag we will be taking the inputs. So there is an input tag. Again, input tag is a kind of self-closing tag, so you need not to just do this. You need not to do or close this thing over here. It's just a self-closing tag, and there are attributes. As I told you that you should put the attributes equals and the value. So the attribute name, what I use is type. So basically what I want to say is I want to say what type of input we want the user to provide, and accordingly we can we can create the elements. Suppose we want people or users who are on our website and we want them to put the username. So obviously they should have a text box over there. So for text box we will type the type as text. Okay, so let's save this and let's check what's on the okay. What I'll do, I'll just leave this as it is. One moment. Okay, I'll just create another link over here, which is called registration or register, and okay, and I'll create a new page over there called register.html. Okay, that will be meaningful. So I'll create a new page and say HTML. First of all, I need to save this as register.html. Okay, now I'll say HTML and I put tab button, then I got this syntax. So I gave this page a title called register, and in this register in register page I'll create the form element. The form tag. In this form tag I'll create an element called input, and I put the type is equals to text. Okay, and once I save this, let me just refresh this, and as you can see that in the index page I created these two links, but these two links should be in the next line. So as you remember, I can use a self-closing tag called br to just put the register in the next line. Okay, so now if I click on this register button, I'll be redirected to the register.html page, and in this particular page I just get one little text box where I can type something. But we should let the people or user know that what they are supposed to put there, right? So for that, let me create one thing over here. We can use the label tag, right, and we can write the first name, and we can refresh it. Now you can see it's first name. We can also give a colon over here, and set it this way. You can see that now. Okay. And one more important thing I would like to tell, there is an attribute for input tag, and that's placeholder attribute. And in this placeholder, whatever you write, that will be displayed inside the text box as the suggestion. Like, let me show you practically that. Suppose I am putting here, enter your first name. I save this and I refresh it. As you can see in here inside the text box, I can see the enter your first name. Right. For a font tag, I can also give an H1 tag. In H1, I can simply say fill form to register. Okay. So this was for the first name. Similarly, we can also go for do for the last name, and we can also take this label. Say the last name over here. We can also give line breaks that it will show. It will be shown in the next line. Okay. All right. Now you can also take the email, and for the email, you can also get the text, but in HTML for email there is a special input element that's called email, and I'll give you the benefit. I'll also show you the benefit of using this type. Oops, let me take the break line, and also let me take a label, and in this label say email. Okay, so this email, here you need to put any email. Okay. Now for the password, you can just do this. You can simply say password, and there is a special type that's called password. Let me again give a line break. Okay. So whatever you will type, it will show you the form of stars, just like passwords. This is by default HTML elements input types, so that you will be able to use the correct type of it will fulfill your needs accordingly. Now the text have been done, the email, password. Now we can take the date of birth as well. You can take the date of birth like with the input element called Okay. Let me just see how does it look. Okay, so here you can see that it gives you a nice little calendar to choose a date from. Okay. Now the date has been done, and you can also go for, suppose if you want to ask for what are the hobbies, right? You can simply say label hobbies, and in the input tag you can say checkbox, and in the checkbox you can say hobbies would not be right. Let me just say pets, if you have pets or not, right? You can say cat. You can say dog. Let's see how does it look. Okay. And suppose if you wanted to take the gender where you want people to choose only one option, so then you can use radio buttons. Okay, so for radio you can simply say male, and again, first of all let me take a label, and label you can simply say the gender. So then you put gender over here, male and female. Alright, now I'm sorry. Now if you see over here, there is a problem. Like just like in the check box we were able to use, check multiples at the same time. In this gender also we can choose multiples, so this should not happen. We should be only able to select only one option at a time. And how you will be able to do this here, because in one set of radio buttons you need to give them a single name. You need to connect them, so we'll use a name attribute. Suppose you can type anything over here. I'm typing gender just for convention purpose. Name it with only small letters, small case, and yes. So now if I'll save it and I'll refresh the form, now as you can see that I can only select one at a time, because I have named both of them with same name, so that HTML will understand, the browser will understand that both of these two belong to one set of radio buttons, one block of radio buttons, so that the user can only select one at a time, either male or female. Okay. Alright, so now let's go to the next thing. Once all these things done, there's one thing that's being left is select. Suppose if you want user to select something from a drop down thing, then we need to use the select tag. It's basically not the input element. It's considered as a select tag differently, and you can just use the select tag notation over there. And inside that select tag, you should have to use another tag called option. And in the option tag, you need to provide some options over here. So first of all, let us create something like okay, suppose if I want to say what type of cars the user has. So label cars. Okay, let me get a break over here. In cars, suppose I want to say Maruti and Honda. Ford. Okay. So if I refresh this, as you can see that there's a drop down and you can select whatever you want. And suppose if you want people to provide some option for users to select multiples, you just need to use an attribute multiple over here. And since multiple attribute has a default value of true, so that's why you need not to provide any value over here. So you can simply say multiple, and you need not to provide any value as such. So just use multiple, and now this particular form you can select multiples by pressing the control button. Okay, but this doesn't look good, so let me just remove it. Okay. Alright, now finally, when user has done with the form, you want user to submit the form, so there should be some submit button. So for that, there is an attribute of there's a type of input element called submit, and this should be the button to submit it. So once you see, let me just so you can see it. Okay, so this is the submit button. Okay, as you can see. Now if you want to give this a name of your own choice, then you should use an attribute called value, and inside that, whatever you want to type or want people to see, you can just type it over here. As you can see, the name has changed, the button's name has been changed. So value is also used, it can also be used in other fields and other input elements as well. I'll show you one by one. Now, one more important thing that I would like to tell you is a type of element, input element is reset. Now, what is the use of reset button? As suppose you have filled up the form, right, and you want people, if you want to give user a facility to reset all the form, then they can simply click on this button, reset, and the form will be reset over here. Okay, so it's done now. So now let me go ahead and fill up this form first, and I'll show you very interesting thing over there. So suppose I fill up the form and I click on this register. As you can see that it's showing me an error over there, a notification. Please include an @ symbol in the email address. Fake is missing an A. So this email is not being validated. So that was because we have used the type email over here. When you're using an email input type element, then HTML will give you a default validation on that text box so that you cannot fill up that you need to fill up a correct email address. Not the correct one necessarily, but in the correct form. So I'm just saying that fake.man@gmail.com. Okay, now password is 12345, and the address I have dog.cat, I have dog as well, mail, and I have forward. Now I'm clicking on this register. Now see what happened. I see something called this, right? So now what I'm going to tell you a very important thing about this form. I'm just copying this. After the URL name, there is an additional thing that has been typed over there. So I'm just copying it and I'm going to paste it over here somewhere. Now, what is this exactly? This question mark is actually a query string. It's telling the browser that whatever it's coming after this question mark is a data, and this data can be used to, it's a way actually to send data through the URL. And you might be sending data to anywhere, to the sessions, to the browser. I mean, I'll tell you what session is in later sections, but just understand this, that we can send this data to the browser, you can send this data to the server or database or wherever. If you want to save it, so we can send this through URL. And this method of sending the data via URL is known as the get method. So here we can use an attribute called method in the form tag as get, and by convention we just write get as an uppercase. So if we, and there is another method called post, and I'll tell you that about the post method later on, but right now only focus on get method. So this get method is used to send data through the URL, and by default, if you're not specifying any specific method form element, by default the method that form element will be using is the get method. And this is why when in this particular form, when we clicked on the register, when we submitted the form, it just provided you this data, whatever data here I selected on this URL. Now you'd be thinking that why we only got the gender data, why didn't we get the first name, last name, email and password and all? But because I didn't type anything, I didn't specify any name to these input elements. Only gender has one name, as you can see, name attribute. That is why it just provided you the data of the gender. Now that is why it's very much important whenever you specify, define an element, an input element, you just need to type or specify a name attribute over here. It's must, so that you would be using this particular data to to store somewhere. Okay, so let's type your first name and last name. Okay, and here email, and here password, and here the DAB, and here we can say pets. Well, oh yeah, name pets, name equal to pets. Okay, and in this your name is only defined. Let's select the right name is equals to cars. That's a car. Okay, now let me save this and let me just fill up the form again and let's see what happens. And this time I'm going to take another name. Password is 1 2 3 4 5. Date of birth. Oops. I have cat, I have dogs, I have mail, and I have bird. It just it's coming because I just typed over it, so just ignore it. Let me click on the register, and now you just focus on here. Once I click on register, and you can see there's a bunch of information, and I'm just copying this information over here, and I am going to type it, I'm pasting it over here. So let's just separate it. Okay, we got our password. That's not correct. It should not happen. You don't want to let anyone else to know the password. So that is the main reason why in the later tutorials we'll see that to send these type of confidential data, we will not use the default method of the get method. We would be using the post method. But anyways, just for the education purpose, I'm just going to tell you about it, that you can use this thing. Now as you can see here, that this question is the query string, as I told you. Now the first name is Amit Kumar, that is my name, that I just put there in the form, and the last name is this, email is this, and now you can see that this some gibberish over here. It's like %40 in place of @ so this is what we call the URL encoding. And in the URL encoding, what browser does is actually just convert some special characters with these encoding languages, so that the browser can understand what does that mean, and it will not conflict with the special meaning of those special characters, because @ symbol and a space symbol, these particular type of symbols can be they have a different meaning in URL. So that's the reason they just encode this with some special characters, just like @ has been encoded with %40, just like that. Sometimes space, you will see some space will be encoded with %20. and so on and so forth. So this is what the URL encoding, and then the password, the DOB, and see the pets is equals to on. So in this thing there is some mistake in the form. Why? Because it's not going to tell us which pet I was selected. I have selected in the form. Why is that? Let's see. In the pet section I have given the same name, right? That is the main reason it's just not going to give us. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to provide a value attribute as well with the name cat, and here with the name of dog, so that it will differentiate and it will give us the exact value as well, what I have selected over here. And the same thing over here as well in radio. Need to provide their male value, and here the value should be female, so that it will provide us what pet I chose in the form and what gender I actually chose, right? So okay, and for car it's fine, it's giving us this one, the option that I just selected. Okay, so now let's now one more important thing I would like to tell you about commenting things, because I'm going to I don't want browser to read this line, right? So when I want some feature like this in our HTML page, we will just comment it out with these little symbols. Okay, so this symbol at the start and the same symbol in a different order, in the reverse order at the bottom without the exclamation mark. All right, and there is a shortcut in the Sublime Text. Whatever text you would like to be commented, you just need to select those characters and select those text and press the control button. If you're in Windows, control button with the /. So once you press that, it will be commented out and browser will not read that. If you are on Mac, the shortcut is command and the / button. Okay, so now just save it and let me refresh the form, and let me just delete all these stuffs. It doesn't make any difference, but still. Okay, so now let me just fill up the form again. This time I'm choosing Honda, and I click on register. Now I have got these data again, and if I am going to just put it here, as you can see that I have the last name, email, password, date of birth, and here we go. See, in the pet section, it just giving me the value as well, that what pet I selected, and I selected cat and dog. And in the gender, it's giving me that I selected male, that it was not giving you before. So this is how we can take data from the form as well, by the get method, and by default it's using the get method. And in the get method we have learned that the data is being sent through the URL, and we have also learned about the URL encoding and the query strings. So okay, so that was all about the form. And obviously this form doesn't look good because it doesn't use the CSS, that is where we have not stylized our form. But anyways, you've learned the basic, and I hope everything is clear. If you have any doubts or anything you want to ask, anything you have not understood, just comment, and I will definitely going to answer it. And I'm also planning for question and answer, some Q&A videos, and I'll put those important questions, whatever you will be asking, in those Q&A videos. So hope you like it, and if you like it, just subscribe the channel, like the video, share it with your friends and colleagues. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day. Bye bye.
That was all about this video. Please like and share this video and subscribe to Feesclub Academy. See you in the next video.